I mean, my advice to people is not to listen to the Western media outlets, but to read. Read books. There's eminent writers out there, from Norman Finkelstein to Chomsky. There's a very basic book if people want to read by Michael Scott Bauer about the conflict, but to read. I mean, I send books to America to people who have the wrong idea of the situation. And around the world, since October 7th, people are reading because people are interested now. The young generation in America, the bit of the fresh air we have here is the young people in America, because they have so much power.
Solidarity with the Palestinian people reflects the depth of the humanity of the people who organize and support the solidarity movement. Ireland is a bright example on supporting the rights of the Palestinian people and enhancing solidarity with their cause. I'm pleased to be joined by Mr. Stephen Redmond from Palestine GAA, who is visiting the occupied Palestinian territory at these very, very hard times. Welcome to the program, Stephen.
شكرا. أنا بحب فلسطين. إحنا إيرلنديين بنحب فلسطين.
فلسطين بتحب الإيرلنديين. Palestine loves the Irish people.
شكرا.
Yeah, Stephen, you're visiting the occupied Palestinian territories these days, and we know that the situation is very difficult as the Israeli occupation attacking the north of the West Bank, erecting checkpoints everywhere. So tell me, why you're making this visit at these difficult times?
There's a very strong synergy between Ireland and Palestine, which goes back to the 70s. But the link before that was in 1921, in July 1921, when there was a ceasefire between the Irish and the British during the Irish War of Independence. There was a ruthless police auxiliary force that was sent to Ireland by Churchill, which then subsequently went to Palestine and carried out the barbarity that they honed in Ireland. And that was in July the 30th of March 1922, when they landed here in Palestine.
Yeah, and when you're moving from one Palestinian city to another, as you visited the area of Jenin and then to Karim, tell me about your impression about the Palestinian people and the Palestinian villages, the Palestinian towns. Especially before we started our program, you were talking about the rough roads destroyed by the Israeli occupation into Karim.
Yeah, it's very challenging, I have to say, in some of the camps where the occupation forces have dug up the roads, because we're training the children and walking in sewage, walking in water. There's no electricity for 2 weeks in the Tulkrum camp. There's no running water. And what's not appreciated is, we're traveling across, long distances with checkpoints, regular checkpoints, where many checkpoints we're waiting for 3 hours, then to get to the actual security forces or the occupation forces, then to be, how can I put it, treated with unnecessary contempt and not in a very nice way. And we would ask them to avoid that, because we're here on a humanitarian mission and we should be allowed free passage and not subjected to any harassment at all.
Yeah, Stephen, you visited Jenin and you met with many people there from the municipality and from other institutions there. Jenin now is under Israeli occupation attack. Just yesterday they killed 10 Palestinians and injured over 40. At the same time, they are evacuating the refugee camp, I think, in a preparation for demolishing it. When you hear such stories, how do you feel about the people you met?
Very sad. The people we've met are, they remind me of the people back home in Ireland. They're farming people, lovely warm hearts. The receptions myself and my colleagues have received here, I can't thank them enough. From the people, and also from the municipality. They received us very well. Everywhere we've gone across the West Bank, we've been treated like kings and queens, if I can say that, with the greatest hospitality. Strangers are coming up and buying us kahwa or shai. We don't even know who they are, but they're there to thank us. And the message to us from many of them is to bring the message back to Ireland, a message of thanks.
Yeah, yeah. And you are here on a mission to strengthen the Irish solidarity with the Palestinian people. And we know that solidarity and support of the rights of the Palestinians have more than one form, including sport. You're connecting Palestinian sport with the Irish sport, Palestine GAA. If you tell us about this mission and the importance of this kind of connectivity.
Okay. Well, the GAA was formed in 1884 by Michael Cusack in Ireland. And it was a way for Irish people to enjoy Irish games where we were under occupation. And it greatly helped the community in regards to cognitive awareness, healing cognitively, physically, be able to travel around the country to enjoy social aspects, community aspects. It brought the community together, and I saw a great fit when I was here last year, shortly after the hostilities started. I saw a massive fit that I believed could work, and it is working. The children have taken it up, the people have taken it up, and they're running with it, and we're very excited about it. The main part of this, the short phase, is the healing for the children. There's many children that are suffering. Yesterday, I had to go into a skip in Al Khalil to pull out a young child called Musa, who was opening up rubbish bags because of poverty and trying to pull him out. And I had to, sort of help him. And we would invite, organized international organizations to come in and help this, because this was abuse, and it was child poverty, but abuse as well. And I would like other international organizations to come in, and we can guide them to where this is required.
Yeah, the situation with the Palestinian children is very difficult because of the Israeli occupation practices, and not only poverty, but children are deprived of their right to life. We saw in Gaza, Israel killed over 18,000 Palestinian children. And the children here in the occupied West Bank are facing the same horror of the Israeli occupation. So when you meet these children and you tell them you're training them on an Irish sport game, and you're going to give them the chance to meet with Irish children and play with them, how do they respond to that?
It's beautiful. The smiles, coming up and telling us that they love us. All my colleagues have gone back, Claire Liddy and Cathal O'Gallin, who spent 2 weeks here. They've gone back very emotional, leaving the children and the people. It's a beautiful place to be. It's a beautiful place to see innocent children, which could be my friend's child or my neighbour's child. There is no difference. They're not animals. They're beautiful little innocent children, and they just need help.
Yeah. And Stephen, we always talk about the common points, the things that we share as Palestinians with the people of Ireland. If you tell us a little bit about the history of the Irish Revolution and the struggle for independence, and how you can connect it to the Palestinian struggle against the Zionist movement.
Well, if we go back to 1969 in Ireland, 6 counties of Ireland are still occupied. So for 856 years, this coming May, Ireland has been occupied in whole or in part.
Yes.
But the recent conflict, which sort of commenced, the epoch was in 1969 with the Northern Ireland Civil Rights Association, where our people wanted equal rights in jobs, education, etc. And it was around the same time the Palestinian revolution was starting thereafter. So from the 70s onwards, we've been very much joined in a common solidarity, because we're both suffering. Our people in the 6 counties are suffering. They're still not fully free. We hope within 20, 30 years that our country will be a reunited Ireland. But it's a peaceful resistance there at the moment. So a lot of focus from the people in Ireland, all over Ireland, but particularly in the north of Ireland, because they understand it, they've felt it, they've a lot of suffering there. I was lucky enough, I come from the south. I was born in England, in London, which we call the belly of the beast. I wasn't liked, Irish people weren't liked there very much during that period, the 70s and 80s. So I moved to Ireland as a child to live on a farm, and and I loved Ireland very much, like, should I say. So we all experienced that occupation type mindset, and this is why.
And if we talk about the aspects of the suffering of the people of Ireland under colonialism, and can we compare that to what we have here in Palestine in terms of the Israeli checkpoints, the Israeli murder of the innocent people? Just yesterday in the town of Jenin, they killed a Palestinian father while he was taking his children from the kindergarten back to his house. At the same time, they shot many bullets at an old man, and he narrowly escaped death. You see the apartheid wall, you see the gates at the entrance of the Palestinian towns. So is there a comparison between both?
There is. Yeah. Many of the policies that have been practiced in Ireland were brought from Ireland over to here. Mm-hmm. And all those policies failed, which inevitably they will fail in Palestine. But I think it's far more acute here. I mean, the level of suffering, the killing, 70% of the women, of the victims in Gaza are women and children.
Yeah.
I mean, when I arrived here, actually, the day I arrived here across Allenby, myself and the father had to protect a young child from being abused by a security because there was a bomb scare when I arrived. And a young security guard took it upon himself to abuse a child. So myself and the father had to jump in, which it's difficult to watch, but the level of barbarity, the level of killing is something we wouldn't have seen. At least our people we could run in the north, you could run away. You can't from Gaza. You can't really from the West Bank. You can't get out. You're locked into your towns. I mean, this morning when I left Hebron, we left at 7:30 in the morning to get here for this interview, to be here for 4 p.m. Because we've recorded a checkpoint, 2 checkpoints, that's 6 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, the business sector, the commercial sector here is stifled completely.
And do you agree that what Israel is doing now is applying the ghetto system to the Palestinian people in the West Bank and Gaza?
The which system?
Ghetto.
The ghetto system. Yes, it is a ghetto system. I mean, you're locked into your towns. There's no Arabic signs on the roads, which I only really learned. I never took much cognitive awareness of the signage. But one of the local Palestinian people says they're trying to make it go away, Palestine. They take down the signs, the Arabic signs, in the rural areas like we don't exist. But it is very much a ghetto area when they lock all the gates. And tonight there's a curfew in certain areas. There is a lot of harassment when you leave certain towns. I mean, this morning, as I say, Al-Khalil, we couldn't leave. There was only one checkpoint we could leave through. Every other checkpoint was closed.
Yeah. And concerning the solidarity movement in Ireland and the support people to people and also the Irish government, but let's talk about the people solidarity. How much momentum does the solidarity movement there have these days?
It's growing. It's growing by the day, by the week. It is growing. More people are becoming angry. They're frustrated. They feel lied to by Western media outlets. I mean, my advice to people is not to listen to the Western media outlets, but to read. Read books. There's eminent writers out there, from Norman Finkelstein to Chomsky. There's a very basic book, if people want to read, by Michael Scott Bauer about the conflict, but to read. I mean, I send books to America to people who have the wrong idea of the situation. And around the world, since October 7th, people are reading because people are interested now. The young generation in America, the fresh air we have here is the young people in America, because they have so much power.
Yes.
They've got social media now, and they know what's going on, and they're rising up. So while the American politicians have an agenda, we have AIPAC there, the young people in America are hope, really. They're the main ones we've got to put house up. Of course, all the people around the world, but we need America to stop this complicity.
And I think that is a source of hope for the Palestinian people, because you know Israel killed and injured over 200,000 Palestinians, and all that we heard from the world, mainly the governments, only statements like hollow statements, but they did not take the necessary action to stop Israel's genocide against the Palestinians. While you are talking about the young generation and the solidarity movement with the Palestinian people. So this gives hope for the Palestinians to keep standing and struggling towards freedom and independence.
I mean, أنا من لندن بس أنا ساكن في لندن هلا. So I watch what's going on in London as well as in Ireland.
Yes.
And the London government, for instance, David Lammy was received money from an ex-apartheid profiteer just after the October the 7th attacks and just before the vote on a ceasefire, which he abstained from. So this type of thing is going on, and this is the problem. We have this lobbying, we have the media, and it is all working against the Palestinians for power and for money, and it's wrong. You know it's wrong.
Yeah.
It must stop. It will stop. Palestine will be free. We just don't know when, because the world, like South Africa, collapsed. And may I thank the South Africans. I was here last year and celebrated at Nelson Mandela Square in Ramallah, if you remember, to thank the South Africans for, the government for what they did. And it's just a matter of time. It's going to be people power, because let's be honest, the Western governments, even me speaking here, will cause me challenges once I leave this studio. But أنا بحب فلسطين, and as I say, إحنا إيرلنديين بنحب Palestine. We love Palestine. It's our second home. The amount of people that I've met here have told me to bring back the message that Palestinians love Ireland, that this is the second home for Palestine. To me, you're our ally. You're our best ally. We don't want anything from you.
Stephen, when you go back home, people might tell you that you went there, the situation is very dangerous, so you put your life at risk, and don't do that again. And this is my final question. How would your response be?
I will come back again.
Despite the very dangerous situation here.
Oh, well, yes. Yeah, because it makes me I know I'm doing the right thing. I can't stay at home and do nothing. And it's not just me. There's millions of people out there that want to do something. More of my colleagues coming here. I've got colleagues, and may I thank all my colleagues who are supporting my visit here. I want to, if it's okay, if I can thank the secretary, the vice chairman, the equipment officer, the tour coordinator. I want to thank all those that are working collecting kits around the country. I would like to thank Irish Sports for Palestine, Girls Against Genocide, Dubs Against Genocide, Palestine Sports for Life, our patron, Zach Moradi. And there is umpteen people more that I could thank. I won't remember all the names, and there's too many to thank, but I would like to say no disrespect for not receiving this.
And we hope next time you come, you bring all of them with you to see Palestine and meet with the Palestinians.
Well, we're bringing 30 young Palestinian children from Al Amari camp and 10 adults in the summer in July to Ireland, to visit Ireland, to meet their colleagues in Ireland, young Irish children, to build friendships and to break down the cognitive subjugation so that they know they have great friends not too far away. And I'm looking forward to them to visit in Ireland.
Stephen Redmond, had been great pleasure having you on our program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yatik al-afia. Barakallah feek.
Allah hafik. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. And from me, Usama Nazal, have a nice time.